Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another chapter of Experiencer Interviews. And today, well, this will be the first show of 2021. Hopefully, this year is going to be a lot better than last year's. Due to COVID, we had the government's canceled all the UFO conferences. So hopefully, this will help ease the pain. So today we've got Veronica Bartolini on board. Veronica was in the secret space program, as well as Monarch, Montauk, Mannequin, Kruger, Nacht, Waffen, and Project Crystal Gates, working with Dolphin, Super Soldiers, and Stargate 1. She was also part of Umbrella Corporation's Hulk program, which started out as at Black Shield as Project Blue Ranger. The Blue Ranger was designed as a cowboy-type super soldier, but there was an explosion, mutations occurred, and the Incredible Hulk was as a result. The project was then replicated on other super soldiers, including James Rink's clone, Rob Richter, and Veronica's clone by the name of Shelia the She Hulk. While in the SSP, Veronica went by the name of Solel and served on missions to rescue children. Her spiritual name is Kumru, and she has Draco DNA. Her civilian life includes titles of former police officer, realtor, behavioral health tech, and recovery coach from trauma. She had a near-death experience in 2010 where she was dead for 3 days. So, Veronica, thanks a lot for coming on board.
Thank you, Yannick. It's
nice
to meet you.
Well, thanks. Thanks for coming. So, to those watching, when we talk about like Umbrella Corp or Hulk, or these are words that people or companies use to infiltrate or like to bring into the vernacular, so people might put these aside as stuff that doesn't really exist, but only exists in cartoons. But we have to remember that a lot of the information that comes to us through the media comes from normal like whistleblowers. Remember Chris Carter from X-Files? He had an insider, I believe, that gave him information which helped him develop certain episodes of X-Files. Plus, also Steven Spielberg during the the creation of Encounters of a Third Kind. So I want you guys to keep an open mind. So Veronica, when did all of your stuff start? Because you've been through a lot, and so yeah, I'm really looking forward to get into this. So did your stuff, your experiences happen at a young age, or did it happen like later on in your life?
Well, it's been happening since I was 3 years old that I can remember. I was abducted when I was 3. And when I did have a near-death experience in 2010, October 31st of 2010, and when I all of a sudden had this awakening in 2017, February, right before my birthday, I was I had tried to commit suicide 3 times in my life. The last one didn't work. I was in the hospital for a month and a half, dead for 3 days. And it's like, well, I can't go home. It's like, I started questioning, what am I here for? Why did I survive? Why, I had recently gotten a divorce. Just a lot of things were happening. And then in 2017, February 2017, I had this huge awakening. And that's when, I've always had my psychic abilities and my seer abilities, it's funny because I've always been able to tell the future. It's just as a kid, I was told to be quiet about it, that I was, you don't know what you're saying kind of a thing. And so finally, when I had my awakening in 2017, I said, okay, I embraced them. I was able to embrace my abilities, and I started offering readings and cleansings, because I can go to a person's home and cleanse the home of whether it's AI, whether it's the ghosts, whether it's malevolent beings, whatever. I'm able to do that simply because, like they say, I kissed death, right? I saw the other side.
Yeah.
And so yeah.
Okay. Well, when it comes to experiencers, the whole vision thing, the psychic thing, it's very prevalent. When my stuff started kicking in, I started getting visions, My first vision was my brother. He was, the thing that happened in front of me. The air started to bubble, like heat from hot pavement, and I thought this was totally new to me, and I was just, I was about to fall asleep, so I'm in that sort of theta wave, beta wave. I'm not sure which one. And so I'm looking at it. I see my brother's face. His eyes are closed, head tilted to the side, and I feel that he's drowning. And a week later, my mom calls up to tell me that he's at the hospital getting massive blood transfusions for like a week because the pills he was taking brought down his blood platelets really low, and he was dying. So I had a vision of my brother beforehand that something was going to happen. So, and after that, I had a lot of voices happen. Like one voice at night of a lady just above my ear told me that I'm going to be an uncle. 3 months later, my brother calls up to tell me I'm an uncle. So and my brother had trouble. His wife had trouble being coming to be pregnant, and they've been doing that. They tried in vitro for like years and hormone therapy, nothing worked. And like 3 months before I get like a cosmic call saying that I'm going to be an uncle, and it happens later. So I totally understand that.
Cool.
It was.
I love it.
But
so you're still listening, like you still get your premonitions, you still.
It's a bit less, but it has to be. And I think it's regarding my my immediate family, those that I care about. If something happens, or that's really important that I need to know, that's when it kinks in. 2 years ago, I heard my dad's voice in my head while I was sleeping, and he said my name, Yannick, and it woke me up right away. I knew something was wrong. Like long story short, the next day I saved him because he was in the woods. He went hunting with like a crossbow, and one of the bows went through his leg. He was losing massive blood. So I knew something was wrong, and I drove down like an hour and a half to get him, and I brought him to the hospital. So yeah. So people, the heavens exist, something exists, and they're watching over us. So let's get into your story. So, and what type of family were you brought up in? To go through, because you've been through a lot. When it comes to Montauk and Monarch, things like that, they really get you at a young age.
Yes. I was born in Nogales, Sonora, Mexico. I'm not Mexican. I was raised Hispanic though. My bloodline would be German. I have German blood on both sides, my mom and my dad. On my mom's side, it's also French and Spaniard, and then it's like I don't really know the spelling, but it's Peruvian Indian from Baja California on my mom. And on my dad's, I have Persian blood and Italian blood as well as German and Spanish. So it's a lot, and I went to school in Nogales, but Arizona. And my mom had to take me to Head Start at the age of 3 because I was very hyperactive. I would wake up before everybody would. And do you remember the movie Poltergeist where the scream?
Yeah.
I remember just sitting in front of the TV, just watching the screen, like, when is everybody going to wake up? And so I would go outside because my neighbor, they had a little tiny swimming pool. And so I would go there. And so many times I don't remember what the heck happened. And my mom would just shake me and say, where have you been? I told you not to leave the house. So I was a really tough child to hang out with, I guess, to raise. She said I was really hyper. So I was in school at the age of 3. One of the memories that I have is being picked up by the Andromedans, because I know I'm Traveler Andromedan 1800, and I have asked some people about the program, but some people don't know too much. So I know that I'm here not only to save the children and the animals, the human people are being taken left and right. So that's one of my major fights, my war here. And then the other one, of course, is to help people wake up and to change timelines. Like I said, I am able to see the future. I do see several timelines happening in the future. I do see, we can get into that later.
Okay.
But so I was taken by these, I call them the Andromedans. They had these huge eyes, like they look like glass, like sunglasses, dark black. And then the lady that did most of the talking, well, telepathically speaking, like they say, she had on like a purple suit, and her hair was like attached. It was really curly, attached to her head. The other one was it was male green in a green uniform, another one in blue. So when I was taken, the saucer, it was like a saucer, like kind of like the Nacht Waffen at the same time. The bell shape, the one that when Hitler was here, you know, he had that with the Germanic forces, the ETs, the Draco ships. So it looked like that, but it was when it was silver, but when the light hit it, it was like a purple lavender, and it had many windows around. So I was taken along with other children, and we were shown this cube. It kind of, and I was like really into the Rubik's Cube when I was a kid. Like I could get two colors, you know, I wanted to get all sides, but usually could get two colors, almost the third one. But in this, vision, I see myself, oh, you know, trying to do it like a cube. But really, the female, she told me in my mind, she said, do it with your mind. So I was able to pick up the cube with my mind, and just there's a bunch of lights that are warping, I guess you can say, when I'm working with this in my mind. And then I see numbers, I see colors, you know. Even now, I'm outside or whatever looking up at the sky, and there's the numbers, you know, that fly by, or the ships. I'm able to see the ships. When I had my awakening, I was able to see the ships, and then the Dracos, the reptilians. I had to sleep with my light on for a good 2 solid months, because I saw them and I heard them in my hallway when I was living in another place. It was not fun, you know. But anyway, so that the family that I grew up with, going back to that, my dad's side of the family, he had like 11 brothers and sisters. My mom had 4 brothers. She was the only female, so there was 5. I have 2 sisters. I have a feeling that my middle sister was also taken, but she doesn't want to talk about it, because when they did take us out in class, I hardly was in class. They would take us out for what they call ESL.
Okay.
I learned English when I was 3. Okay. I don't know why to this day I have to read lips. You know, with the thing going on with the mask, it's like I have to really pay attention. Because, and sometimes I'll be like, you know, can you say that a little louder? It's not that I have problems with my hearing. It's just I have to see. Like I said, I'm visual. I read lips. So I learned how to read lips when I was very young. I learned sign language as well. And, you know, so they would take us out for ESL. They would always blame that my English would get in my way. I mean, that my Spanish would get in my way. And I'm like, how could this be? You know, they try to dumb me down. Like even in when I was in 9th grade, they said, you have a 7th grade reading level. I'm like, no, I don't. And so I proved them wrong. By the time I was a junior and senior in high school, I was taking advanced placement courses. I was in academic decathlon. Academic decathlon is where they would select a few students from each high school, and they would take them like to Phoenix, to other, you know, cities, even California, to go and test you on certain subjects. Math, science, you know, you had to memorize so many things. You had to learn so many things. So I feel that that's also part of being a super soldier. Not only that, but the bubble test that we had to take all the time. It was, I don't know, they just made it seem like I wasn't smart enough. They were constantly testing my hearing. I can hear very loud and very low tones. Let's see, going back to to the family. What else can I tell you? We lived in Nogales, Sonora, Mexico. I was born in Mexico, but then we lived in Arizona, Nogales, Arizona. And when I was in second grade, we moved. My father moved us here to Tucson. And I went through many schools. We moved a lot. My dad was constantly moving us. What else would you like to know?
Well, yeah, regarding the Andromedans, coming back to them, how tall were they? Because I don't know much about them.
I was a kid, so they were pretty tall, like I would say like 7 to 10 feet.
Oh yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, let me show you. There's these drawings that my daughter made, and I know that I also have contacts with the Greys. I
Okay.
have the dolphin DNA, and I remote viewed during a regression. I remote viewed how they made us. We were little kids, and we were in a submarine in a lab underground in our body. My light body is under Antarctica right now.
Okay.
So this project took place in Hawaii. It was like where they grew they grew our avatar, our dolphin, with our body, when we were little. And so it's been crazy. But
So
let me show you real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. See if I can take it over there. These are the Greys. Like I said, I also have tall white contacts.
Okay, yeah, I see the gray now. Yeah.
And then she even drew pizza, which is, great and all that stuff. But
okay.
Yeah. Okay. You got
Okay.
that? Yeah.
Good.
So yeah.
Yep. So coming back to your so the physical body you have now, where you say that you've got Draco DNA. Was that something that was injected as while your mother was creating you?
Yeah, my mother was taken, and so I have the Draco DNA from mainly I have it on both sides, but it's mainly my mother's side. I was looking at some pictures, and it's just the dragons were everywhere.
Okay.
Around her, and so it just confirmed that, Also, I was shot up with the black goo, and I also had to drink the black goo.
Okay.
And
so it's strange that you're talking about that, because the whole concept of black goo was brought to us through X-Files again.
I've never seen X-Files.
So yeah, it's funny that you haven't seen it, and you're talking about subjects that now they're given to us, ideas at least.
Yeah. Now when my body was being made into the Shelia, what they called me Shelia the She Hulk, I was really pissed off, because I'm like, you guys, you couldn't come up with a better name. The guys were like trying to make fun of me, and then I bust out, I Hulk out at them, and it's like then they calm down. But I also have the black goo and the green goo that was injected for the program of the Hulk. Now it's weird, because when I was in the police academy, they used to call me the Hulk. They're like, don't piss off, Vero, because she's gonna kick your, she's gonna pretty much kick your ass. Okay, excuse my language. You can delete that later. But I was in what they call the Red Man drill, and I was fighting against the sergeant. And mind you, they only give us these little gloves, like fingerless gloves. They don't give you any headgear, nothing. They just give you these little gloves, and they put you to fight with officers and sergeants and higher up. So I was fighting sergeant, and anytime if you make somebody bleed, they have to stop the fight. So I punched the guy, the sergeant, and he started bleeding. And so I heard the whistle, so they stopped the fight, and I look to where they blew the whistle, and the sergeant kicked me on my right knee, and I fell, but I got right back up because I'm like, you know what, this guy's not gonna, he's not gonna
Stop.
how do you say, intimidate me. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then we had another red man drill where it was two guys against me, two and one, right? So I had a fracture on my shoulder, and I still graduated. Okay, so I feel like some of us do have superhuman abilities. The name the Hulk stuck through my whole police officer career. Back when I was in the U.S.
So this happened while you were at the police academy, is that it?
Yes, this happened while I was at police academy. So it's just funny how the name Hulk stuck, and I'm like, okay, well, I have to find out, was I really part of the Hulk program? And I did the regression with James Rink, and I did see myself go through that. And then also there was a SSP friend, also his name is Jamin Vasquez. He also remembered me when I was in the tubes, coming down from the ceiling. They had me in the region tank, and they had, like these, it's called he called it it was like a 2 feet wide, 3 feet tall, kind of like a tube pressed under my belly button. He saw, in other words, he saw what they were doing to me when they were fixing me from one of my we'll say missions. It's just I always wanted somebody to actually remember me. Like, what if, I was like, I hope somebody remembers me. I hope I'm not making this stuff up. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So when he came to me about 2 months ago, it was just like, it was amazing. Like, wow, I'm not crazy.
So, okay. So let me see. So the whole Montauk thing, does this come into play?
The Montauk, well, the Monarch is very young, like 5 years old. And then the other one would be at 12 or 13 years of age. I have memories of running through the hallways with the paperwork of my other super soldier family, brothers, sisters. I'm running with these files, and I'm pretty much like trying to save them as well. This place was a very huge facility. It was a building. It had many glass windows, and but the rooms that we were stuck in, we were stuck in these white rooms that had no windows, and it's like, I don't like those memories, but I know that I'm running out with files. Okay. To get our memories back. And another regression that I did with James and the other SSP guy, I think his name is Glover, last name Will Glover. He had me go and get our memories, because some of us can't remember all of our, we don't have all of our memories yet. I usually have to ask my subconscious to remind me every night. It's like, what did this happen? When I have so many questions, so every day I'm writing something, So we went under this, it was under Mars, and it was a cave. And it was during the time that I discovered Black Shield, and it was before I remote viewed Project Umbrella, what they did to us down there too. So it's like these little cave, it's like a cave, okay? And there's these little black boxes that are in there that are rigged, like, for them to explode if you ever get into them. So I had to use my intelligence to make sure that this thing wouldn't go off, the bomb wouldn't go off. So I had to how do you say, figure out which wires to cut or whatever. And then finally I was able to take the memories with me, and then James and Will, they had theirs. So I'm hoping that they recover their memories soon.
Okay.
So things like that, a lot of torture, a lot of drowning in water. I have memories of being in my tub when I was a kid, like being able to breathe underwater. And what I usually do when I take a shower, just sometimes it's like, am I real? Like, what am I doing here? Right? So when I take a shower, I know it sounds kind of weird, but I'll inhale water through my nose. Just, I don't know. It's just like, wow, I can breathe the water
Okay.
to clear out my system. I don't know if you do that.
No.
I can hold my breath underwater for a long time. I love to swim. When I do go swim in the beach, I go really far in there. Like, I'm not afraid. So what else can we talk about? I'm everywhere right now. Sorry.
So, okay, so you're talking about these programs, but how were you brought into these? Do you have memories of that? Because, these are clearly military, so what happened? Did they approach you physically?
No, I just have these memories of being in underground bases. I have these memories of being held down in the med labs, in the how do you say, in the chairs. I had a lot of dental work. When I was a kid, I was afraid of dentists. I won't go to the dentist. I stopped going to the dentist about a year ago because I just can't stand the probing. They had I have metal implants. I have so many migraines. I have to get 34 shots in my head every 3 months for migraines. I was not asked to sign up or anything. I don't remember signing any contract. That's why I get really mad sometimes, because I'm like, I did not ask for this. Yes, I have abilities, but so does everybody else. It's like, why did you have to take me? I seem like a crazy person to my family. It's pretty sad, but I'm learning to love myself more, accept that this did happen, accept that I was abducted many times. I know that they worked on me when I was an embryo and altered my DNA. Like I said, I have the Draco blood and the dolphin DNA. And then they put me back in my mother's womb. She was also taken, like I said. My father, when he was young, unfortunately, his mother, my grandmother, like I said, she's German descent. She would place him in a lot of Illuminati stuff happened, okay? She would place him in the closet there for a day or two, telling him that the devil was going to get him.
Wow.
That he was a bad kid. He was the oldest. And so I grew up with the father telling me that I had to be sorry, that I had to ask Jesus Christ, that he had this Jesus figure in a cross hanging in our bedroom when we were little. And it's like, I used to hate him. I used to hate the Christ figure because it's like, it's your fault. My dad took his life. He committed suicide when I was 13. I used to blame him for that too. It's like, you took my dad. This was when I was really into religion, and I thought, there's a heaven and a hell that I have, I have to go to heaven, and my goal in life, all this stuff. So I was able to finally break the code of religion.
Yeah.
I don't do religion. So my father would always tell us, you have to ask for forgiveness. The devil's going to get you. La mano peluda in Spanish is like the hairy, the hairy hand. I used to have these 2 bunk beds, and my sister slept on the top and me on the bottom, and my little sister like in the bottom. Like there was a little mattress that we would take out for her, and she would hang her hand like that on purpose, to scare me. And she would chase me with, knives, and it was just like, I don't know. I had a weird childhood. But yeah, unfortunately, my dad did. He wouldn't let me even wear like these shorts. He wouldn't let me. He would always be careful, mijita, you're gonna fall. Like everything with fear. Te vas a caer. You're gonna fall. This is gonna happen to you. Like all this programming, this negative programming. I love my dad. I do. I talk to him all the time. But it's like, why did I would always ask myself, why did I grow up with so much fear? And it was because of his mom. She was very, oh my gosh, like very strict. One time I was eating, and you know how you're a kid, you're eating, you have the fork here, and you use your finger to, scoop up your food. Oh no, I got a whacking for that. It's like, no, you can't touch your food.
Yeah.
We used to get whipped all the time with branches from outside. Oh, it was just, oh my gosh. And then it was just like a lot of these I guess torture programs, not only here in the 3D, but when we were tortured over there, underwater, we'd have to fight against each other. In Mars, I had two swords here. They look like two swords, but you can also they're like kind of like this. I don't know. I don't like to compare it to, but like Star Wars, that thing where they
lightsaber, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And with Project Kruger, I have a left hand that is actually a made out of metal that you can shoot from it, So I'm able to transform myself into many beings because, they experimented on me a lot. So here, I got to be careful when I get mad because electricity, I will mess up the electricity. Many times I'll be like last night I was at the Fry's shopping center and the self-checkout thing, they had to reboot it twice. Last month and a half ago, or almost 2 months, I was at Walgreens. They had to reboot that machine, for printing of pictures. When I went to the dentist the last time, 2 out of the 3 times that I went, I messed up. I don't know. The computers weren't working. The chair wasn't working on one of them. And I didn't want to tell the girl, that was working on it. I said, it's probably me. And she's like, well, if it happens again, then it is you. And I'm like, okay, well, I never went back. It's like, so anyway.
Yeah, so when it comes, you were talking about the hand earlier. Is that one of the photos that you sent me?
Now, the hand is actually, no, the hand is that one there. It was a weird dream that I had. This lady, we were in the supermarket, and this lady walks in with a little boy. Little boy's pushing the cart. She sits by me in the produce area, and she says, look at my hand. This is my TR3B, she said. Your TR3B, really? I go, so you turn into a ship? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, cool. So I drew it out. I don't know how to draw like I told you, Yannick, but I drew what I could, and I'm like, dang,
Okay.
But yeah, that was her hand, like in like a reptilian. She was a reptilian pretty much, turning into this ship, I guess you could say.
Okay.
But no, the robotic hand that I have, it's metal, and it was the time that I saw it was during the time that I was in a lab. It was off planet. The lab had these things coming down from the ceilings, and there were IVs. Okay, this is where I was able to see part of the future where people are going to be told, hey, we're going to offer you this much money, your family's going to be secure if you just come with us, give us your body, you can, in other words, the transhumanism phases. And so they were using these people's blood. There was an older lady, an older gentleman, even kids were there. I was there. I was in a slab. They had me on in a bed, and they had these, the IV on this side, and then the actual hand that I saw was on the left side, and it was like all metallic, and these scientists were wearing these white suits, and I even had a it was like white and see-through thing over my head, and then I was let go finally, and he's like, be careful with the outside, be careful, there was a bunch of water with rocks, and he says, be careful when the sun goes down. And I'm like, what? And he didn't explain to me what happened, but later on I saw this male, and the sun was coming down, and his half of his body turned into like a dinosaur, like half dinosaur, and like half dinosaur, half wolf being. And then he told me telepathically, he said, run, because during the daytime we're your friends, but during the nighttime you're food. And it just reminds me of so many flashbacks and so many visions that I've had of the mansions and the temples that I've been in. So they do manhunts with kids. They chase the kids. And so I had to go underground and find safety because I was running with lions. I was running with giraffes. I was running with so many animals. And it was like, I finally got to safety, but it was crazy. It's like, what the heck?
Yeah.
And James Rink does talk a lot about this, and Susan Long too, Amaria Sweet, she has memories of being chased in the woods and things like that. And I'm glad that I'm able to talk to them because it's like, well, this seems like if I'm in a movie or something, you know, but it did really happen. And since I was a kid, I was talking to my mom the other day. I go, Mom, do you remember how the nightmares? She goes, yeah, the nightmares were bad. She said she always had to wake me up. I would sleepwalk. My dad sleptwalked too. I had to I remember one time when I saw him sleepwalking the first time, I'm like, Mom, can I touch him to wake him up? She goes, don't touch your dad when he's asleep, you know, sleepwalking, just let him walk around. And so she would do the same thing with me. I have a memory where I'm a little kid and I'm like in second grade and I have my pajamas are like a yellow and I have my backpack on and I'm ready to go outside and my mom turns me back around. She says, go back to bed. It's Saturday. You're not going to school today. And I wake up and I tell her, Mom, did this really happen? And she's like, yeah, you know, and it's like, wow. So, people, you know, these beings do call you out. You know, most of the time they will paralyze your family, what they call sleep paralysis, or they will make them go to sleep. So they'll take you physically or they'll take your consciousness, you know, when you're in the astral. So this stuff does happen, guys.
Yeah.
You got to be careful, write your dreams down, ask your subconscious every night what programs I was in. What I do is when I barely open my eyes, I go backward to my dreams to see, you know, if I don't remember the beginning, I'll remember the ending and then work myself way back there and then just write things down in my journal.
Now, I'm
You know?
wondering, were you de-aged? Because, you know, a lot of people in the SSP, you know, they serve for an X number of years, then they're brought back to a certain specific time, and they're de-aged to the exact moment, you know, they came on board their program. So I'm
Yeah,
wondering if that's what happened to you.
yeah, yeah. They did that too. Mhm.
Okay. Now, when it comes to
What
Project
they call
Crystal,
it age regressed. Sorry,
okay, well,
age
de-aged.
regressed.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
So Project Crystal Gates and the whole Super Children thing, is that all the same thing?
The Crystal Gates and what else?
And let's say Stargate 1, are those like two separate projects, or are they like somewhat the same?
Now with Crystal Gates, if you ever see that movie, Stargate, the old one, it has 2 discs in there.
Yeah.
I forgot that I had that movie and I hadn't seen that movie forever. And so when I went into my regression, when I first woke up in 2017, I spoke to David Morrow. He was in the UK and I said, dude, I know I'm one of the Hulks. I go, I know you're one of the Hulks. And he has like metal in his back and everything. And he said, you were one of my protectors. He said, even though you were also a Hulk and I was a Hulk, he said, you were one of my protectors. And I lost contact with him for it's been about a year to a year and a half. I don't know what happened to David, but he's been on Miles Johnston videos if you want to look him up.
Yeah.
He said, yes, you are real. You're the other Hulk. He said, we were always together because I did have some dreams with him too. And then he said, they used you for Stargate 1. And I said, well, how did they use me? He said, you gave them an idea that they're still using today. So like I said, going back to numbers, I was also a pilot. I have a lot of formulas in my head. I have a lot of dreams of math equations, you know, what they call quantum physics. So with Project Stargate, I figured out here how to open up portals and how to close them. So I'm not gonna like tell you everything unless, I mean, I'll tell you what I do for now. Okay. Then if you guys want to ask some questions or make an appointment with me, that's cool too. But when I want to see something different here, because I keep seeing the same people, what they call Mr. Smiths, right? Like if you look at the Matrix, the Mr. and Mrs. Smiths. When I feel like something is stagnant here, when I'm not manifesting enough, to do what I have to do, whether it be whatever provision, whether money, gas, whatever, things that I need, food, whatever. I want to see something different. I want to change the timeline. So what I do is with this hand, you turn it to the left. It's like a dial. Okay. When you open the portal, you use 69696969. Then you envision yourself going through the Stargate, 77777. I use the sevens for that. And you envision what you want to occur. And then you close the portal, 969696. So that's how I do it. And I know that is part of the research for Stargate. Also, we were supposed to, we had to go through the Stargates. There was only certain people that can go through Stargate 1 and come back. What they did is they used the homeless in the program when it first started. And of course they would come back not themselves. They would come back crazy, or some of them would die because the abilities, the blood type, they need the Rh negative. Okay. The O negative is number one that they're always looking for. O positives is the second one. Whatever Rh negative, they're always looking for the Rh negative. But anyway, so in order to go through these,
I'm O positive.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So they use you too. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. So when you go through these portals, you're able to, do whatever you have to do, whether fight, whether find new land, whether you're escaping with their technology and coming back through the portal, whatever kind of mission you're in, you're supposed to go through the Stargate and come back the same.
Okay.
But some people that couldn't handle it would either come back throwing up or dead. So I'm still trying to figure out what kind of formula or what idea I gave them through Stargate 1 that they're still using. So
yeah, it's fascinating that you're talking about the thing that you're doing with your hand to open the portal. I'm wondering if that idea was brought into the media, because in the movie Doctor Strange, which he's like a wizard, let's say, who's got who's trained to open portals, and he's doing that with his hand too.
That's neat how they do the hand thing. I get goosebumps right now because I never really thought about that. That's just something that I came up with on my own. One time I was driving and I'm like, okay, I'm tired of this bull crap. Like when I go on my bike rides, I'm seeing the same people. It doesn't matter if I get up at 5 a.m. or 9, it's like, why am I seeing these people? I want to see something different. And I'm like, I got to thinking, how can I open my own portals? Yeah. What do I do? So I just came up with that idea, and it does work.
Yeah. Wow. So, okay. Blue Ranger, you're saying that it's a cowboy type super soldier. Can you get into that?
Okay. So the Blue Ranger, I had a dream where I saw this, I was in a ladder on top of looking at this, fight that was going around with the Dracos and reptilians, and there were ships up there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to take a picture, right? Because I'm always taking pictures, and I'm always looking up in the sky, looking at the ships. So I'm like, oh, interesting. So I was taking pictures of them, and then all of a sudden I'm climbing down the ladder across the way. I'm in an old neighborhood that I grew up in, Nogales, Arizona. And there's this being, he's like, what is this guy? It's like, he's in a motorcycle suit or what? Because it's all blue with white, and he's wearing these white tall motorcycle boots. He's wearing a white helmet with blue. It's like diamond shaped. Okay. And, he kneels down and takes a picture of me with like an old Canon, and I'm taking a picture of him at the same time. He has this thing on his left side. I don't know if it's a surfing gear or part of his motorcycle. I don't know. And then he takes off, and all I know is that I said, hey, I'm here. I see you. I acknowledge you. He did the same with me.
Okay. So
when I go into regression with James Rink, it turns out to be one of his avatars. So this Blue Ranger, though, he has in his mouth, it's not a regular mouth. It's like, you know how a gas tank, you have the screwy thing part of it? Mm-hmm. Okay. And his eyes are like, they have these dark sunglasses as well. They're pretty big. And so he can go underwater. I was told by him that he was used to scare the children when we were kids. He would hide under the beds, in the closets. He was part of Illuminati. He was helping take the children, unfortunately. But now he works for the good side. Okay, he can go underwater. I did see the manta ray, in a cave. There was a cave where he goes in, and it's like a display of the manta raya there. It's like the flatfish. I don't know how to say it in English. Manta ray, I guess.
Manta ray, yeah.
Yeah, and he has that also in his uniform, and he also has like a V, so he's part of the Draco himself. Now the scary part is that when he does take off his helmet, it's like a lot of tentacles are out, and when he does open his mouth, there's many. Have you seen Aliens versus Predator? You know Predator, when he opens his mouth, it's like that, but many mouths like that. So yeah, I thought that was crazy. And so, like I said, he can go underwater. He can find treasure, things like that. Now, my Shelia the She Hulk, she can also go underwater. She was given a trident. And she's also part of the Project Mannequin sex kitten thing. So Project Mannequin is when they taught me how to fight since I was really little, like 3 years old. To be a trained assassin by the CIA. And then at the same time, they teach you how to be promiscuous by not only their rituals and things like that, unfortunately, the rapes that happen, but they teach you to be a CIA asset. So here in the 3D, say, I don't know why, but I usually had a lot of men, I would date a lot of men in military or police. Before and after I was divorced. And so it seemed like I was always assigned to somebody. And then they did what they call the love bite. Sorry. So they make you like think that you're falling in love with this person. It could last a month to 3 months. So what you do is you date the person, alcohol's involved, sex is involved. And the minute you black out, that's why I don't drink anymore, to black out, because the minute you black out, they take over. Okay, you don't know what the hell happens. So then once you're regress back, we'll say not regress, but when you're done with that date, another event happens to where they take you, either that night when you're in your bed or you're in a party or something. They'll take you and they'll download the information. Now the information that is downloaded is through DNA. You have to have sex, okay? When it happens when it happens to be the sex kitten program. Now with Mannequin, it doesn't have to involve sex. Okay. So they download the information, and usually it's for spying on military, spying on their secrets, technology. I do have something that I've discovered on my own. It is top secret, so I don't know if your channel, I hope that they will still keep this going, but it has to do with the 99. Why do they call it the COVID-19? I don't know, but it has to do with the 99. I was able to remote view Project Umbrella. It has to do with CERN and DARPA. Okay, so Black Shield as well. What they're doing is they're taking our DNA, and it's the 99. Now, when I was under the She Hulk, when I was under the Regent tank, there was a light here that was red and a light that was green, and I had these prongs in my head, and I had the unit that would come down here to the back to where you're chipped. When you're born, they chip you. I had all these machines tied up to me. So this is when I understood, when I did the regression on my cell on my own. I was thinking about this thing, and I'm like, what does the 99 mean? Well, the 9 is the 9 strands of DNA and the 9 strands of your RNA. This is my information, okay? So the red, the green. What they're doing is they're using our abilities, they're using our DNAs to help through the transhumanism program that Elon Musk is trying to do, and also to make new super soldiers that are more robotic being, more cyborg, more than we were, okay? They're trying to top us, original super soldiers. They're making this, with DT, what's going on with supposedly space wars. That's the fake one, okay? That's not the real one. The real one has been around since before the 40s, 1940s. And so that's my part of my mission also is to for declassification. I also want like I want the programs to be shown to the public. I want them to see what is the truth, you know. I do want to see the media go down because it's a bunch of lies.
Oh, yeah.
So I tell people, don't watch the news.
Yeah.
You know, be careful who you hang out with. Get rid of those toxic beings, those toxic, even if it's family members, because you have to come to yourself, back to one, right? That's what 10 is, or one, or three, right? Mind, body, soul.
Mm-hmm.
You have to come back to one. You have to come back to seeing what is your truth. You know, are you going to keep going with the bandwagon of religion, politics, and education and all that, or are you going to go look within and save your soul, save yourself?
Yeah. I tend to say to people, like, choose your camp. I chose mine.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've been flushing, you know, taking care of business. And, you know, even some family members, I've stopped talking to them because, you know, they're at this place that, you know, they can't evolve, they can't question. And
right.
if you can't
question.
question.
They feel weird questioning. It's like, well, then what are you doing here?
Yeah.
What else were you going to say? I'm sorry.
No, yeah, but yeah, I do understand where you're coming from. But yeah, it does take a lot of guts because, you know, a lot of people can't change because they're afraid people might think differently of them. So there's a lot of control, and especially when it comes to religion. I've got a friend of mine that works with me. She's black from Africa, and she's a geologist, and she's got a lot of let's say dreams, prophetic dreams all the time. But she's very Catholic, you see. And once I told her about an event I had when I was dating that you know, British abductee, and there was like a black hole that appeared in my bedroom, and we had shadow beings like a few hours later appear in the bedroom. And the first thing that she said, coming from a religious background, she thought they were sorcerers. But again, you know, it's all about how you were brought up and what environment, and then I guess that environment really dictates if you're able to like question or like see beyond it. And but the thing is, she's psychic. Everything she told me happened. Mm-hmm. And
how were these sorcerers that she called? How were they acting with you and stuff?
Well, they were on like in front of the bed and on my fiance's side of the bed. So they might have been watching her. But you know, there was shadow beings, like really broad shoulders, like, you know, looking at the shadow of a football player, really broad shoulders, and they were at least 6 feet tall. And when it came to the head, I didn't see any. When it came to the neck, I didn't see any neck. I only saw like a huge round helmet on them, and I didn't see arms. I only saw like the sides of the shoulders, and the shadow came directly down to the ground. So it's like somebody was wearing a cape. So I was only seeing the cape, the shoulders, and the huge helmet, and they were walking, you know, in front of the bed. And as soon as I felt super drugged up. Yes. But you normally don't when you wake up.
They took you guys, especially because she was, you know.
Yeah, she was an abductee, and her grandfather was, you know, high military. Her great-grandfather, yeah. But yeah, we probably got abducted because after that, so I was drugged up. I'm able to raise my hand to say hi because I thought they were like manted or whatever. And I black out. I wake up. I'm like, I don't know when. I wake up. I'm looking at the floor. My feet are I am barefoot, so I'm probably naked, and I'm wearing hospital robes.
Oh my goodness, yes.
And then I black out again, and I wake up in the bed the next morning.
Oh wow.
So yeah.
They were definitely experimenting with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know that you mentioned hospital gown.
Yeah.
When I had my near-death experience, I'm not proud of this, but I ended up shooting myself because I didn't want to be here anymore. All I remember is that I was in the hospital and I was screaming because they had put this tube on the left side here because my left lung had collapsed. It took 20 doctors to save me. I saw them all around me, like with the lamp, you know, with the light.
So that's your NDE?
Yeah, the NDE. Yeah. And so they put this black thing that felt like velvet in my lips so I could shut up about screaming. My mom said she had to leave the hospital because she couldn't be there with me screaming. And that's all I remember. Then from there, I see myself in the hospital gown, and I get up from the bed, and there's these beings that are cut in half. They're charcoal black and purple. They're cut in half, all the same on the waist, okay, line. They have black jagged haircuts, all the same, short with this edge, cut haircut. They have yellow eyes, and they're looking at me like this. They're on my monitor, they're on the floor, on my sofa, they're in the room. I'm like, what the hell? I gotta get out of here. So I walk over them very carefully so that I don't disturb them because I don't want them to grab me. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? So I see the light around the doorway, and I'm like, I gotta get to a doctor or nurse to tell me why I'm here. I open the door. I'm back in my room, still the same gown. These beans are gone, but I see my dad in the corner, and I hug him and I said, Papi, no me quiero ir. I don't want to leave. I want to stay here. And I start crying and crying. I hold on to him, and he's like, you can't. You have two beautiful kids that love you, and you're not done there. And I'm like, but I don't want to go back. I want to stay with you. I keep crying.
Yeah, your father passed away.
Yeah, my father took his life. Yeah, when I was 13.
Okay.
He committed suicide when I was 13. So it's been tough. So I just kept crying and crying, and finally, I go back and I inhale, and I'm like, whoa, I'm in like so much pain. I start, grabbing. They had me hooked up in my nose, my throat. I start like grabbing everything and trying to take it off. I'm tied up. My mom's to my left, and then they have a guy to my right. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing here, And so she tells me what happened. And since then, I mean, I was dead for 3 days, there for a month and a half. And
so how come you were dead for 3 days?
They couldn't get me back.
Okay.
And my mom called
so you were brain dead, and you were
brain dead.
Okay. So
Brain
they
dead,
kept you on the machines. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so my mom called everybody from Mexico, from California, Texas. Hey, Vero's dying. You gotta come say bye. And through this time, I remember just waking like a little bit, opening my eyes and seeing these faces. I'm like, and for a split second, why is this guy here? And why is that girl here? It's like, why is my family here? I was in between. And if you ever look up that song by, I love to work out. So my go-to songs are always by In This Moment. She's also awakened. If you look up that song In Between.
Okay.
Wow. That's like, I'm in between. It's like, dang, like, it is real. So, when people tell me, oh, you're going to go to hell if you don't accept whatever, I'm like, I've been there. Thank you. You want to go to heaven? I've been there. Thank you. I'm not going to heaven, and I'm not going to hell, because those are holding cells where they have you using your battery. You're going to be worshiping this entity, this ET, because it's Anunnaki,
Okay.
And so I don't want to talk bad about religion. It's just that because of my experience, I won't do that. I won't ever bend the knee. I know that there is one supreme being, and it could be consciousness. Some people call it God, but I think it's more than God. I think it's in us. I think all of us are one, right? In consciousness. And we can't just put a finger and say, oh yeah, that's God there. Let's worship it. No.
Yeah, God's got a penis, yeah.
God's got a penis. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Or God's a female. No, it's more than that, guys. It's this piece of clothing. It's my little cat Kiki. It's my daughter. It's my son. It could be, this pillow, this book, everything is sentient. I always speak to my phone. I say thank you to it. My vehicle, whenever there's something wrong with her name is VC. I will talk to her. I say, what's wrong? What do you need? And we are all capable of doing this. We're all capable of using our abilities. But what happens is they want to dumb us down, the elite, right? The ETs, the 13 families, the 6 families, whatever, the council of whatever. They want to think that they want to make you think that you're not worth it, that you need a God, that you need a savior, that you got to be told what to do. And yes, you're right, Yannick, when people do have an awakening, it takes a lot of guts to actually go public because of the fact that people want to be loved. Yeah, but you're being loved and accepted, quote unquote, in a not real, it's not real. People are so fake, you know. And so even in this community, you got to be careful who you talk to because some people are jealous and some people are haters and some people just want to use your abilities, right, for free. There has to be an exchange of energy. So I commend you. You're so young, and I commend you for doing this.
Well, I'm 45. I'm still.
Well, you look way younger than that. You look like 35.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So where are you from, by the way? Because you have an accent. Are you?
Yeah, I'm French Canadian, so I'm from up north. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm 3/4 French, but 1/4 British. Thanks to my fiance, I found out that my ancestors were nobles.
Oh,
so
nice.
that might explain why. I've got things happening in my life. The family name's Elwin, and I think
one of the L's.
Elwin, you knew that?
You're one of the L's.
How the fuck? How did you know that?
It's in the name. It's simple. I have goosebumps too.
In Anglo-Saxon, Elwin means, or like the word Alvin. It's the branch, and we all branched from one major bloodline. It's a very old, like almost like Romanesque time bloodline. Okay, this is before the Saxons, before Old English, and the word was elfwine, which is the elf wine. Wine means friend in Anglo-Saxon, and but it also means like noble friend and magic friend.
You're also part of the elf realms.
Yeah. So that name, the elf wine, they branched out because the people didn't know how to write back in the day, so they spelt it how it sounded. So how it sounded really depended on whatever region you're from. So that's why we got Elwin, Alvin, and a whole bunch of names, but we all come down. It's all the same family. We all come from the same source.
Nice.
But the Aylwins were noble, so I'm not really sure if I'm from that part. But again, I know that historically, my grandmother said growing up that the Aylwins were an important family, but we thought they were Irish. But thanks to her, my old fiance, she told me that we were nobles. The manor's still up, and I think it's Aylwington or something like that. But some of them, there was a war like in the UK. They left to the US, and when that family when the whole war against the British happened, they didn't want to fight the crown. I guess they were still loyal, so they fled up north to Canada. So that's the story. So because I don't have there's not much when it comes to military in Canada compared to the US. So I can't really say that it's because I got military family. But then I found out about that, and even the word Elwin it's in the Domesday Book, which is like an old censor like a whole citizen book that still exists. An old book which it tells how many people lived in certain areas during a certain time. So it's pretty neat though.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you a video that I made with Penny Bradley. She talks about pretty much, see, they've been after us and you, of course, your family bloodline because of our bloodline.
Yeah.
Because of the abilities that we have. So I'm gonna send you on Messenger. I'll send you that video that we did together because I had a lot of questions, and she explains how the Anunnaki created the human being by using Anunnaki blood with the Homo erectus, right? So, how do you say with the first human? Yeah. So the first human is Homo erectus, and it has both the bloodlines. But she talks about the Shahami, how they're after us because some of us do have that Draco bloodline, and Some of us have the German bloodline. They're after the O negative. They're after the original bloodline here on Earth. They don't like us because we will always stand for the truth no matter what.
Okay.
And so I think you'll find that interesting.
Yeah, well, thanks to you, I added Penny recently.
Oh, good.
And she wants to come on, so.
Yes, interview her.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I was on her show. She was given a radio show for 2 hours every Saturday, I think it is, in August. And then they just offered me one this month. So we have been interviewing each other.
Really? That's so
Eric
cute.
Hecker too. So if you would like to come on my radio show so I can ask you questions, that would be awesome. Because I'm booked till March, so that would be awesome. If you have time the last Tuesday in March, let me know. Yeah,
well, send me a message a few weeks prior.
Okay.
And, I'm open to it.
Thank you.
So yeah, we've let's get to the drawings you sent me. How about the airplane event?
Oh, the airplane. So that scene there, I'm in this. I'm seeing. There's a long line of kids. And there's one little girl that has a lamb. She's holding like a little lamb, how do you say, stuffed animal.
So is this like a conscious memory that something happened, or is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And
at what age?
I'm running away. I'm running away. The airplanes are green. The military is, the uniforms are green. I was also a Russian and German soldier before. But here in this particular vision, I am running away.
Okay.
Because I'm thinking to myself, did I do this? Did I take the kids, or was I part of the kids? This is before I was trying to figure out what the heck happened to me. And in the same time, so these kids are lined up, if you see, and there's like a huge building, like under the awning, the kids are lined up, the military people are here. And then all of a sudden I see that this ship comes down. Like it's a dome and it has one window and it's white. And I'm like, oh shit, they're being shipped out to the moon. And I'm like running away. I run so fast. And when I turn back like that, because I also questioned myself about the suns, because there's 2 suns here. And I look back and there's this huge, yellow aura that looks like the sun, but then there's 2 black holes inside the sun. And I'm like, okay. See, I'm always asking myself, my subconscious myself, my cellular memory, like Matt Tracy says, what is real? What is my experience? Is this real? I want evidence. So, I wake up with that. Either I'll dream about something and it'll be like, whoa, this is real. This is a true fact for me. That was one drawing. So any other questions you have about that one?
There's this drawing of a ship that landed to pick up children. So they've got like circles and squares in that.
Yeah. So that's the ship that's being So what happens is, okay, the kids are being taken from here, Mother Earth, right? And then they have a base underground, and then the either underground or off, right? And then the ship comes and it's gonna take the kids off planet to the moon, or whether it be the moon or Mars. But in this particular vision, it was the moon.
Okay. Wow.
And I was running away from it. So I finally later on understood that I was being taken too, but at the same time, with my avatar Solel, my sleeve Solel, I'm fighting the raptors in Mars, and like they say, kicking ass, taking names, or whatever they call it, saving the kids. The kids that I see are in black. They're in these they're underwater in the caves. The water's dripping. There's barely some light, and the kids and the animals and some females are in black cages. And we're fighting off the raptors there in Mars. What else was I going to say about that?
So Solel is really the created body that they made
Yes,
for you for so
for
it's
March.
basically like a soul transfer. They take you out. They come at night. That you're implanted in that avatar, and you use that. Which the Greys, they have specific bodies to do certain
Yes,
chores, so they come in and out of bodies like us drinking water. It's so easy to them.
yes,
Okay.
true.
But if somebody created that body for you to do a specific task to do good, like who like are the entities that did create that body, who are they? And
The
what's
Draco
okay.
for Nacht Waffen.
Okay, I always thought the Draco were bad.
Not all of them.
Okay.
I was mad at the Alpha Draconis. He's the top leader. He's white Draco. I was mad at him, and when I moved into my apartment here in 2018, I finally, I had to live by myself, and I'm like, I had to deal with these images, with these truths, and I finally went outside to the balcony and I talked to him, and I saw him, and I said, you know what? I forgive you. I was mad at you because I have this bloodline, this, the Black Goo, the Draco blood. I was mad. You guys used me when I didn't want to be used. I never signed up for this. And we made amends. I forgave him. But the others that worked for him were very mad. They were following him to the ship, and they were pissed off because pretty much they let me go for now, but they have to guard me. In other words, I have my guardian Dracos with me, my children all the time. I'm always protected. He promised to not ever, hurt me ever again, and to always protect me. So I'm grateful for that. What else was I going to say about that?
Well, how did everything end? Did you like
No,
the
I'm
whole
still
program?
being taken.
Okay.
Still being taken. I told him that I don't want to be used for the bad side. That I will go just to save the children and expose what really is going on in this earth.
Yeah.
I'm still active. I don't know how many. I don't like to use that word 20 and back because that's not the right word. I don't know how many I'll say 20 and backs I was used. I was used for many. I have right now that I know of. I have 15 altars. There's one altar. His name is Elka, Elka, another L. I was asking myself, okay, what other altar do I have that I need to integrate? And I wake up on here in my room, and I see right before I open my eyes, I look at myself in the mirror, and I'm a male, shaved head, black eyes, white complected. I have these fingerless gloves, right? These fighting gloves. I have a phone. It's just weird. I'm taking a picture of myself. There's fog everywhere, and I have a cloak, and it's a maroon cloak. So I'm a masonry. How do you say?
A Freemason?
I'm also doing some assassination. The bad people. I'm taking care of them. I'm getting rid of the bad people.
Yeah.
So mercenary. There it is.
Okay, mercenary.
Yeah. And it's funny that I question myself, why is there fog around me? And when Jamin was telling me about the flashback with my She Hulk, when he said that they had these prongs on my left and my right side of my head, there was also like a fog that was around me, and he said that it was disgusting, like the smell was like really gross. There has been some times that I wake up here in my bedroom and I smell like the reptilians have this awful smell, and the Greys too. So I'm like, who the hell has been in my room? It's like, get out of here. I start examining everything. I start looking at the cats, like, what are they looking at? Or, has anything moved or anything shifted? I try and take pictures. I was really good a few months ago taking pictures or videos before I leave my apartment. And my apartment was broken into on the 31st of January. They didn't take anything, though. Now, the night before that, and Penny can account to this, Penny and I were just talking on the phone. We were talking for 3 hours. And in between that time, there was a knock on the door. It was like almost 11 o'clock. And then I don't open the door. Something tells me don't open the door. So I opened like the blind and the window. And I say, hey, can I help you? And it's this lady dressed in red. Okay, she has a blonde wig. She has a black backpack. She's light skinned with green olive eyes. And I'm like, what can I do? And she's for you. And she's like, oh, I'm looking, does somebody by the name of Weddle live there? And I'm like, no. And so that plus the break-in, I didn't want to call the cops because I'm like, I know what they're going to do anyway. They're just going to give you a number and that's it, you know, the report number. But I got myself a camera now, and it's like, how stupid can they be? Like, it's the CIA. They always try and send these people so that I date them and try and fall in love with them so that they can get information from me, or I from them. And it's like, this year I was sent this past year was 7 CIA agents, and some of them were not, you know, wanting to be like together, but now there was two of them that were good that came to help me. Okay, they did help me. I'm very grateful for that. One of them is still my friend. But I know I have gotten so good now at deciphering whether it's real or fake. You know, is this part of my deal, you know, part of my protection here? Now I know 2 more males that are protecting me here that are Mason or Illuminati or CIA. But it's like, I laugh at the ones that they try and infiltrate me all the time. Like, it's not going to work this time. I'm smarter now.
What did the 2 males do to help you, if that's not too personal?
I can say offline better.
Okay. Let's get to the the beings. Yep. The 2 beings, one with the crown.
That one. Okay, so I'm in this huge, kind of like a mansion. And I'm in a room. It's very high ceilings, and it has a like wooden panel on it. It's about medieval kind of setting, and I'm seeing that my daughter is screaming. She's seen herself in one of those long mirrors that turn, you know, the long ones.
Oh yeah.
And she's screaming in there. But then there's another of herself behind her screaming. Her hands are tied. I'm like, oh hell no! So I pick up my daughter. I hold her. She's about maybe 12, 13 in the thing. But then when I hold her, she becomes like 2, 3 years old. And I fling the mirror up to the ceiling with my hand, and I go like this, like in a circular form, and the mirror starts turning and it becomes smaller and smaller and smaller, and it disappears. And then I take my daughter to safety because there's these beings that are coming. They look, I don't know if you have the picture, but they look like raven, like they're copper. They have this beak. They look like ravens in a copper suit, and they're big. And they're throwing this thing at me, and it looks like a boomerang, but it's actually a huge nail. And when I did post that dream that I had on Facebook, some people responded with there is an actual weapon that is used like that.
Okay.
I was like, wow. So it was not my imagination. I'm saving my daughter. I'm fighting these guys, and then I go outside. And I'm like, finally, I can get some food, right? I was hungry in the dream. And I'm in line for food. And then the people are being paired up, like a male with a female. And I go up, and there's this man with black hair. I don't even know who he is in this thing. But there's a queen, and she's very tall, short blonde hair. She has a crown, very white, very tall. And she orders me to pour my water in with the one from the man. So the water turns black, and I'm ordered to drink it. And I said, no, I'm not going to drink the water. And then she hands me a red, very thin, long candle that's lit. And she says, hold this, with the little, like a gold thing on the bottom. She says, hold this. And I'm like, I'm not going to hold it, because it was a spell. In my mind, in the dream, it was a spell that she was trying to put on me. And so I broke it, and I end up waking up just in my mind, seeing that the red wax was all over my fingers. And it's like, wow, interesting. See, what happens is the other side, we'll say the bad side, They always try and coerce you in your dreams or in your astral or in your visions or with your family. They'll try and infiltrate your family. Your family will turn into somebody that you don't even know. It's pretty much the archons that are attached to their aura
Okay.
to make you do things that you don't want to do, to get mad or say things that you're not, and in your dreams, especially in your dreams and in the astral, and right before you fall asleep or right before you wake up, it's like they try and give you these contracts, and make you sign this or tell you, if you, like the other day they had my son in a headlock again, and they're like, if you don't come back to us, we're going to kill your son. I'm like, go ahead. I go, because this is not real. I've been able to distinguish what my dreams are from reality. We'll say reality because, 3D, 3D. But that's what I tell people too. It's like, become aware of what are you dreaming, but it's tricky though. When I have to get out of these situations, I use mirrors or windows for portals, and I come home and I come back here. Now, one time I did have this weird thing where I'm up here looking at the ceiling. She sleeps by me, my little cat, and she's sleeping with me, and I'm like, oh, I'm finally home. But then I stare up at the ceiling, and there's this blue camera, and there's a hole, and I'm like, I'm not home yet. So I'm like, what if there's a camera up there, right? And then I go back to sleep, and then I wake up looking up at the ceiling, touching Kiki. Okay, now I'm home. I'm listening to my music, kind of like Inception. The guy has this thing that twirls around. So if it keeps twirling around, that means you're still in the planes of other existence, the parallel lives, the dreams, what they call dream world. Now, if it's like this, it's not going anymore, it stops, then you're awakened in the 3D realm on Mother Earth, right? So I was like, what the heck? And I kept thinking all that day, I'm like, what if there is a camera up there by the ceiling fan, Yeah. But, yeah, so anyway.
Yeah, you talking about the fact that you were looking at the ceiling reminded me of a story my mom told me when I was young. I believe my mom was an experiencer too. And again, she's part of the Aylwin bloodline. And once her father died very young due to lung cancer, because they started smoking at the age of 6 roughly.
Yeah.
And so she wakes up. So she's dreaming. Okay, she wakes up, she walks into the kitchen, and she sees her father in a rocking chair smiling. Okay, and then she asks him, are you okay? Are you happy? And he just looks at her, being all happy and smiling. And then she wakes up, but this thing, instead of being in the bed, she's on the bed, on her knees, looking at the old houses where we had these light bulbs that we had to pull a metallic string there to turn it on.
Yeah.
Well, she was looking at that, at the light bulb. Her bedroom light was open.
Oh my.
How can you sleep looking at the bedroom light with the lights on? So, the lights were probably off firsthand when she went to bed.
Yeah.
And now she has a dream about her father who passed away. And then she's on the bed, on her knees, looking at a light bulb that's on. That would burn your eyeballs, right? Whatever. So,
that's crazy. But yeah, it does happen.
Yeah. So, pretty cool story though. But again, I guess he came to her somehow, but still, I had a lot of stuff happen to my mom before she passed away. That this was crazy. My fiance was she's like really connected to hearing, the voices and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I don't really talk about this a lot because I rather give time to you guys. But when it comes to death, and this is total proof that, the beyond, that we do have something beyond death. Yeah. And this is a cool story. When my mom passed away, from a super virus that she caught years back, my fiance came back from the UK. She was able to come in because I gave her a notice to give to the, immigration, whatever, because I asked for help to help with my dad. So she came, she was able to come back in the country fairly early. And, cause she was here 6 months. So when you go back, you have to go back like a few months and then come back. But anyhow, so, we were sleeping in my dad's, we were in the basement, And then she wakes up all of a sudden and says, Yannick, get me a piece of paper really quick. Quick. The thing is, my mom was speaking to her in her mind. Part of it was while she was asleep, she wakes up. She still remembers everything.
Yeah.
She starts writing down everything. And the thing is, my mom started off speaking in French to her. So all the words, she doesn't speak French. So all the words she jotted down.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the dream, she said, speak to me in English. I don't understand a word. And my mom starts speaking in English. So she gave me the piece of paper and I started reading everything. And words started coming out in French. But most of it was hard to decipher because she was just writing down what she heard. But you could understand that there were lines. And then when it came to the end, in English, it said, "Look in the drawer by the window." So we fall asleep the next morning, and we give the piece of paper to my dad, and we start moving around the house, looking at drawers near windows, and there were a lot because my dad had a cottage, by the lake. Nice. So near the patio, we had a TV on this thing that had drawers and stuff. Mm-hmm. So in the drawer by the patio window was my mom's dream diary. And the last entry, the second to last entry, which I have in a presentation I show to people, she jots down a dream that she had where my dad's mother that passed away not too long before she passed away came to her in a dream, and where there was a lot of other spirits, and they say to her that she's going to have an operation in the chest area, but not to worry, not to panic. But that thing was a premonition of her death. And, there's a huge story around that, so I won't get into that. But again, it shows that we do get contact and messages. Yes. So it's, there's more to it, but I'll leave it at that. But
that's interesting. Maybe you can send me that video so I can see it. You say you have it.
No, I've got the scan of the diary. I had in 2014. I still had I gave the paper to my dad, but I think he threw it away. I was so pissed because this was proof. I could have taken the time to decipher everything in French. I could have found out what she said, but he was so in a state of shock. Like a few months later, we found out that he had a mini heart attack because of the event. So I almost lost my dad. So he didn't really. He thought that he put it with the diary, but when he moved, we went through the house and we never found it. So he probably didn't care and just threw it away.
Either he threw it away or somebody took it, because the CIA also does that.
Yeah.
With James Rink, he talked about that a lot. He says that he'll have paperwork, it'll go missing, or even on his computer and it'll go missing. So he also blames it on that.
Well, even when it comes to certain proof, I think we're programmed to throw it away. People with implants.
Right, that's the program too.
Implants. The implant comes out and oops, I lost it. Oh fuck, what happened? Then you can't find it anymore.
Yeah.
So we've been at this for almost 2 hours.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool.
Well, we can, I don't know, we can either, you want to go on my show next time or I go on yours? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, just, PM me on Facebook and we'll have a chat.
Okay. Thank you, Yannick.
So thanks for coming on, Veronica. It was fun.
Thank you for having me.
And to those still watching, hope you enjoyed tonight's show. More interviews coming up, and I'll see you guys next time. So take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Hello, everyone. This is Mr. Gray, and thanks for watching today's episode. If you are an abductee, contactee, or experiencer, and you believe that your story could help others, please feel free to contact me through my YouTube channel email. When it comes to experiencers, the ET phenomena, and the future, remember, truth will out.